went to go see JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, a Takashi Miike movie.
Ah, I see.
Now,
What did you think of that?
So where's it end? I need that's my first question.
okay, so
It's from what to
if
what?
you are curious at all about this movie and you want to see it and you don't want to know anything about what's changed or what they did or didn't do, stop listening now because we're going to discuss it as if, full spoilers because we've discussed part 4 in full spoilers.
And the part 4
right.
manga is decades old, and the part 4 anime.
Yeah,
is
and admittedly, not
and
everyone has gone around to it, but I'm giving fair warning that I'm going to spoil the movie while we're having this discussion. So, tune out if
Can
you
you
don't
do
want to
that
hear
world thing where you say skip to this part?
it.
How long is it going to take, you think?
I don't know. It's not going to take long though.
No, it wouldn't.
Um,
There's not much to talk about.
But yes, so what ends up happening is there was some I guess first of all, it wasn't terrible.
It was not terrible.
It was not terrible, and that is the most surprising thing of the whole. Yeah, shout outs to Takashi Miike for making it not
Ace
terrible.
Attorney wasn't terrible. Ace
Exactly.
Attorney was actually pretty
Now was it great?
No.
It was just shy of greato, does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the main thing is that you can't at all be a new fan to JoJo going into this movie.
It is notes.
Beyond gibberish.
Like,
if this is your first time experiencing JoJo, it is the worst thing you can ever do to somebody.
At the least, you'd have to have seen Stardust
Rip up your
Crusaders.
friend's ticket.
Oh, did you see it as
Absolutely.
well, Matt?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
You're not allowed to see this if you're new.
So
it's trash
lot
if you're new.
Narrative shortcuts taken.
Zero explanations. I'm talking to the point where the closest thing you get to a moment, because he gets pissed off when you make fun of his hair. Josuke does.
Yes, that's correct.
Of course.
And it gets to a moment where it's like he's sitting around the table with granddad and mom, and granddad's like, oh, back when you were 4 years old, you almost died. But you didn't. You made it, and now you're okay. And Josuke just goes, yeah. And he pulls out a comb and combs his hair, and that's
scene
it.
moves on.
And that's the only thing you're getting is he combs his hair.
Oh, well, we don't have time for that scene in the runtime.
The biggest.
No. Like mine is. I told you this yesterday, but I was like, Jotaro just shows up. And he has this photo of the guy he's looking for. And anyone that has no idea what's going on be like, why does he have a photo?
Where did this photo come from? And it's like, don't worry about it. He's got a Polaroid.
Of the band.
Fuck it.
He mentions Joseph in passing,
they say
but
by
doesn't say
name.
anything more than that.
Listen, here's what you need to know, all right?
Here's what I want to know.
The main character of this movie is fucking police officer Higashikata.
Oh, really?
Granddad Cop is the main character. He gets so much play. He is the big hero of the city. He's the best cop in the world. Everyone loves him. He's hanging out with everyone, making sure kids are on the straight and narrow, and down to the point where one of Aqua Necklace's first victims is a kid that, or is it one of these guys that he's a street punk, but the granddad's like, you're all right.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah, you're all right. Hey, man, stop skipping out on class, and he's like, okay, all right, and then he does something bad and he gets possessed or whatever. They give him all these extra scenes and moments. He gets some of the biggest laughs where he's working out to fucking get pumped to stop crime.
I can't protect my city if I have noodle arms.
He gets some of the biggest pumps, and it's that actor that's in a lot of Takashi Miike movies, the old guy. So they really push him hard, and therefore push the impact of when he dies. There's I think in the end we get ghostly CG purple men stands.
Okay.
But because they're kind of ethereal, it's all right for the most part. Sometimes they become solid and look super duper shiny, ridiculous.
Star Platinum appears for about 5 seconds.
And looks the best because he's pretty much ghostly the whole time. Whereas Echoes looks terrible. Echoes looks like trash. And it's like you just can't get around a big, dumb, shiny Echoes
Well, the
thing.
problem is Echoes Act 1 and 2 kind of look terrible already.
But like the texture of how their skin should look in real life
Everyone's shiny.
is not reflected
Is
well
it
in the
telltale
CG.
Japanese CG?
Yeah. It's that stuff.
Yeah, but
it's
it was
the movie CG.
actually better than I expected. I actually expect a lot worse when I see a Japanese CG movie.
The other thing that like people were saying that like there's rumors going around that there's a big twist, right? And I think that's a misnomer. I think that's calling it a twist is inaccurate. A twist to me is something where it's like you didn't expect this. We did this on purpose to
And it
surprise
flips
you.
it on its head.
Right back.
And that's not what this was doing. There's just quite simply edits for time, right? So if you're wondering where does this go and what does it go up to, you pretty much go from the beginning of the story through Aqua Necklace and then through Worse Company.
Worse company.
Right, and then you get to the part where they're up in the attic and the monster dad is revealed, you know, and everything's happening, and you're like, all right, so here's where the moment goes down, and Keiichiro Nijimuro does the whole like, yeah, fuck you, Okuyasu, you're dead to me, and then oh no, the big threat happens, and it's not Red Hot Chili Peppers. Motherfucking another one bites the dust, bursts through the fucking window, lands in his mouth, and blows him the fuck up. So
That's edited for time.
we cut right the fuck to the chase.
Get Red Hot Chili
Pun
Peppers out of
intended.
this story. That whole sequence gone.
No, he destroys Keijiro and the bow and arrow right then and there.
Bam.
And we're going
You just skipped 50% of the manga.
roll credits because we're going straight to Kira in part 2.
Okay. And then it'll just be all Kira all the time. Enigma's gone.
Yeah.
Like, radio tower guys. Superfly's gone.
Sheer heart attack, rather. Sheer heart attack.
Yeah.
No, the most of us. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like that's the stuff you need to keep in, and then you can just do a whole Kira movie, and then you can be done and say that you did a whole story,
Basically,
and that makes sense to me. That honestly is probably the best way to do it.
and it went a long time too. Like it felt long enough that like if they dedicated a whole second movie to Kira, you would definitely get the first half of it, like, or the first maybe even 75% as proper Kira chase, and then the last bit of Kosaku, going on for the finale.
Yeah.
I it feels
You could do a 22-minute TV episode of the entire Kosaku arc.
there's some really weird stuff where
Maybe 2, maybe 40 minutes.
like Yukako gets really good play where she has this insane creepy relationship with Koichi the whole time, but she's not even a fucking stand user at all. There's nothing going on with it. She's just literally creep girl that's hanging around, forcing
hanging
him
out.
to do homework.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, being way up in his face, and she's basically played as like a joke. You know what I mean? In the couple scenes she's in, and it's funny, but like she has no
Oh yeah, because that has to be cut for time as well.
exactly. So
She could be a stand user.
so all we know, right? It's just Koichi has a crazy stalker girl, and that's all it is
Loves
right
him.
now.
That's true love.
What else was there? The way the actual stand battle plays out, like
they're pretty.
they
good.
were accurate. It was good. It was fun. It was done all
Does
right.
it have the moment where they break down the wall and then there's the water heater going off?
They do, yeah, all of
Okay,
it.
'cause
All of it's
that's
there.
my favorite
Yeah.
shit about the Aqua Necklace fight. It's so stupid.
Because there's two like fights that were very like Jojo, where it was like I thought 16 steps ahead of
Yes.
you, and even though I played dumb, I'm now going to like there were two moments, and that's the moments where like people were clapping, going yeah, but that was like it.
It's the
know what I
because
mean?
it's the two first fights which establish Josuke as a smart fighter.
But then the last
and
the last scene in the mansion, like I was saying, it just goes on, and you're like, yeah, they spent a long time with that.
they get up to the mansion and they do the
I'd say the third act is the weakest part because it just lingers.
well, but it's because it's not
forever
supposed to
on
be the
this.
third act as much as it's supposed
Exactly,
to be the finale.
exactly. But that's what
yeah.
I mean.
But like, yeah, you get all the right moments where fucking you're seeing little CG men, soldiers shooting,
Yeah.
and all that crazy shit. And they do a
Toy
pretty good
Story.
job of like showing the effect of the shots, like when Okuyasu gets shot up on the face and the little weird pinholes, you know. And then yeah, you get the beaten up. The Josuke really goes over the top with the Japanese voice acting of not voice acting Japanese style, like I'm bleeding out and I'm still walking because I'm determined to be a badass kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he's practically crawling on the ground, but they do the whole moment where like he's sitting cross-legged and he's like, my move is already complete, and you get your cool JoJo stuff happening. They replace a lot of the themes we know from the show with their own movie versions.
Sure.
So that stuff is fun. Angelo gets fucking rocked, as it were.
Very nice.
The effect of like when someone gets punched through the gut and saved and then
really
healed
awesome.
is pretty good. They do a lot of like, because they basically play with they do the healing stuff in a way where, since it's too hard to show things reverting backwards, camera tricks kind of
like it's just back.
It's just back, right? One shot has like like the guy that gets beaten up in the beginning that's teasing Josuke, like his leg passes by the frame, and as his leg passes by the frame, he goes from beaten up and bloody to healed.
It's just instant. It's just bam.
It's just magic happening, exactly. And
which is probably how it actually appeared.
And Jotaro is so interesting because it's like you've got the right voice and attitude. You're absolutely conveying
But the guy looks
the
a bit
manly
too
aura
friendly.
of Jotaro. But it's not even like too friendly. He said he's really thin,
Yeah.
and he looks like worn down in a way where it's kind of like, I guess I could see you having your big Dio fight, but
Well, because
You're
in
just-
the manga or the anime, he doesn't appear any much older, like just visually. And in this, he looks like he's a guy in,
the manga,
his 40s.
Yeah.
It's more in his clothes, but it's like he's an adult.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
no longer a high school.
And
but you get the feeling that it's like, well, they're kind of fucked there because like
how do you go backwards?
because the
But in
You never
JoJo,
wanted
when
to.
you're a
In
fucking
Jo-
high schooler, you're a 35-year-old bodybuilder.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. Like as time went forward, like Jotaro to Josuke was like and then Josuke to Giorno was the tipping points. Each had a big tipping point where it went from like enormous Mega Man to human being to lithe fuckboy.
And your scale starts here. Your scale problem starts with Koichi, who looks like a college student. Like you're not convincing anyone because he's obviously not this super tiny, ridiculous Dragon Ball character.
Koichi's a little person, straight up.
But here he's just a college student. Like and so you've got to scale everyone up from that. And of course, and Josuke ends up being like, yeah, you're way older than high school should be. Okuyasu is a man.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And Jotaro is 40.
Yeah.
And you can't pretend he's not.
So what's like Joseph is like what, a pile of bones?
He doesn't exist.
In,
No, but he will.
no, but in the movie, I think he says he's like 81 or something.
Yeah, that's-
Well,
Jotaro
they
is
said he's
like
getting up in his
81.
years, but he's not. But he doesn't show up. Josuke's mom looks dead fucking on. They did a
Yeah.
really good job casting her.
I have to say that remember there's that line where someone barked out a laughter, and I was like, huh? And you explained it a bit more.
Yeah.
to me.
It's of course the moment when Grandpa dies. So they do an interesting thing with that too, because he goes for the healing moment, and then it actually heals the blood and like damage from his body, and then they go awesome, and then they go back down to deal with the fight.
right.
So that whole reveal doesn't happen until later after the fight's done. Then they go, "Hey, Granddad, what?"
Because in the
Come
in
on!
the manga and the anime, it's
It
like
happens
super
right away.
Explicit, and it's like you can't bring his soul back into his body.
Yeah, and so just you get that moment of Jotaro being like,
No
once
stand can
bring
someone back to
from
life.
the dead. Once
And
someone's
you heard
dead,
someone
it's over.
in the far back of the theater going,
Well, everyone, because the meme, as we all know, is you're an asshole, Jotaro. You literally brought back your dying granddad from the dead.
And I was like, oh, that's true. And I was like,
Matt leaned over. Matt leaned over and
Yeah.
went like, "What stand can do that?"
Well,
And Willie's like, star platinum.
there are multiple stands that can do that. One of which is in part 4.
But it's like not even 10 years ago.
just
Willie-
jam a
Willie's
plate
like-
of Pearl Jam's food into his dead body.
Willie's like, no, Joseph. And I was like, all right, didn't Joseph have like a huge hole in his fucking chest? Like, Dio was inside
Joseph-
ripping his body.
Joseph has every single drop of blood drained from his entire body
forgot.
and is stabbed multiple times in the face and throat with knives.
sucked dry.
And he is left on the floor for what must be half an hour.
Yeah.
And then they fill him up with Dio blood.
And he's fine.
He's super fine.
I forgot the best part.
What?
Joseph's soul leaves his body and goes
You
to
see
heaven.
the ghost. You see the ghost. Yeah. Don't forget, because that's the moment that always matters in every JoJo is when you see the fucking spirit in the sky. And they literally see him hanging out with the rest.
And he gives Jotaro a thumbs
the
up.
big,
and
like,
he's
you
like,
got
I'm
this
going
one.
To heaven.
No.
You get back into this old body, man.
You're not done cheating on your family, fucker.
It's a really, man, I know we're just harping on the manga, but it's a really screwed up moment when you read the manga sequentially because those moments are only like 100 pages apart.
Yeah.
It's
You're right.
it's pretty extreme.
They're really bad. Oh, man.
But yeah, that's exactly it. It's
Jotaro,
like
you're such an asshole.
your granddad's not an important stand user, so fuck him.
Maybe it's like I want to be the only guy that can bring people back from the dead with my stand.
There's a super weird moment in that storyline where Jotaro's like, it's not an important stand user, so fuck it. Where, hey, this is a violent murderer killing like on a mass scale that the countries had never seen, but it's not a stand user.
That's
So
not
fuck
that-
it.
So
yeah.
I'm out of here. Let the cops handle it.
My stand will be the judge of other stand users. I don't care about normal crime.
Like what?
Yeah.
But you,
Jotaro's the best.
Jotaro, what? What about people who pollute the oceans and punch dolphins, Jotaro?
You need so back on the movie though. If you are a fan and you need to see it simply for witnessing with your own two eyes the live action version of pulling a fucking glove out of your mouth
Yeah.
tied with aqua
yeah,
necklace in it.
yeah.
It's some goofy shit.
I bet.
It's some
I
goofy
started laughing
shit.
pretty
I
hard.
bet.
And it looks so dumb, but they do it. They commit to it, and God bless Takashi Miike for not turning away or not trying to
they do
fix
a
it up.
full-on
He
shot?
leans into the all the stupidity of it, and
That's
he fully
great.
embraces it.
That's great.
But I'd say between
He improves
what
even
what is
the hand fight.
Really?
He improves it because when he does when you see Josuke get up and position himself to fight Okuyasu in the beginning outside the house, he doesn't fucking stand by a wall and then a bunch of pots hit him in the face. He positions himself in front of a giant fucking statue.
Yeah.
And Okuyasu swipes and gets wiped the fuck out by
Into the
tons
statue.
of rock.
Like, he
It's
gets knocked the
brutal.
Yeah, there's some good action in this movie.
Some big wipeouts. So you can't don't like that improves the fight.
yeah,
Definitely.
But
Yeah.
between this and Ace Attorney, I enjoyed Ace Attorney more as a film because it's more digestible. Like a court case is more digestible for like a motion picture format, where it's like, they stretched this fight out because it was the only logical point in which to stretch it out to make an ending.
And I think that like they just kind of wanted to really play. The reason why I think they stretch it is because this is a film where the main villain is the Nijimura brothers.
Yeah.
So to give him his proper send off, and whatnot. If this is a JoJo story, you know that there's multiple chapters and villains to go, so you can speed that.
It
through.
says chapter 1 when the movie starts.
Yeah, and chapter 2 is going to be Kira, but. Like, because he was the main villain of this whole thing, his thing was the whole thing with the dad needed to, like, last long enough, to fucking give him, emotional.
Do they go into what the dad is at all?
They go, our dad's a monster and we need someone to kill him because he can't be killed.
Why is he a
Great.
monster?
Why is he like that? Huh? What? What are you talking? Oh no! There's a stand.
I don't have time to explain 70 years of world history.
Dude, they don't touch bullshit, dude. They touch nothing. Oh my god! And there's even a moment where, like, you wonder if if Josuke's family knows about his powers, because his dad comes in and goes like, "Why'd you get involved in that fight and stuff like that?"
Yeah, that was weird.
And like the way that scene played out, it was almost in one of those like, "I told you not to."
Because Granddad wasn't
Reveal,
there for the fight, so it was kind of like up in the air where it's like he was involved some way, but I don't know how.
How did this man's knife get in his body?
He never uses his stand inside the house.
It's fine. We don't
You
know.
don't use that goddamn magic ghost inside this house.
Yeah. It's cool though in the end.
Don't use your Ryu Ghost Army in here.
Costumes are fine. Costumes look good, and Josuke is very likable and fun. And the girls that are fawning over him are just as ridiculous.
The anime has maybe like spoiled, but like the movie's just kind of drab to look at because I'm expecting colors. I'm expecting shit.
Oh, there's
no
purple sky and green roads.
That's hard to do. I get it, but like there was no other visual thing that was interesting about it. You know what I mean? Like it was a standard movie, but a couple of characters dressed like absolute assholes. Other than that, it's everyone's normal.
There's little nods where like when the mom steps out in the beginning, she's like, "I'm going to Trattoria Tonio," and you're like, "Oh, I know what that is." And of course, after the credits roll, you get your little pop of this is the only time in life you're gonna see an entire auditorium of people losing their shit at a bottle of nail clippings being shown on screen, and everyone's like, "Ah!"
Yeah,
because we know what it is. But he clearly hasn't been casted yet.
I didn't know.
I'm very interested to see how they're going to, because that's rough. Because like, Kira is David Bowie. Like,
yes.
Period.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like that's a tough exact look to go for, I think.
And what's really cool too is that when the granddad is looking over his accomplishments and the drawings that little children have drew to show you how much of a big strong cop guy he is, like you see his case files, and then one of his case file books is a murder of a family and little girl from 14 years ago, unsolved. You know,
it's that one case.
And it's that one shot exactly, and such. There's a little thing too where even like it's like because so this is another thing. So he's Josuke's looking over that case file book, right? Because the granddad is the main character of the movie.
Sure.
And when he dies, and like they're getting ready for his funeral, and so he's looking at this watch that his granddad has, and it's a broken watch, and the mom walks in and goes, this family got wiped out like 14 years ago, and your granddad is working the case, and he's someone who protects the city with his life. So after that case happened where he couldn't solve the murder, he broke this watch he got as a gift from the department for like his good work, and he stopped trying to get
a promotion. Someone
working up the ranks to get a promotion. He stayed as a beat cop so that he would like protect the city with his own two hands. And like this broken watch represents that he wanted to stay as a police officer. And so then, at the end, Josuke takes the watch and fixes it, and he's wearing the granddad's watch now.
That's sweet.
So like they really push that thing, and it's already like the thing that made Granddad what he is was the Kira case.
Yeah.
So they're linked even more than previously thought.
But thinking about it over again, remember we were talking about when maybe a trailer appeared before it showed stands, is that like the movie unfortunately also smacks of like we did it at part 4 because it's the cheapest to possibly film.
It's the only part you can film in Japan.
Yeah,
you literally couldn't couldn't do any other part of the story.
Wasn't it filmed in Italy?
It was
no.
It didn't look like a Japanese village to me. It didn't look like a Japanese town.
No. It was Japanese.
But there was a lot of Willie. Remember, there was a lot of like architecture and houses and statues that were very un-Japanese.
Did they film it?
I don't know for sure
because if it was filmed in Italy, then I'm super wrong.
In Italy, fucking
yes, part 5 is right there.
It shoots in Spain.
That's cool then.
Because
then never mind. I'm totally full of shit.
Why couldn't you have filmed Battle Tendency
there's
there?
There's no places in Japan
that look like Morio. But the thing, okay, so then I'm totally full of shit.
But it's in Japan
because the whole thing is that Morio-cho is it's in whatever M prefecture in Japan.
So if you had the budget to go film in other countries, fucking film Stardust Crusaders, bitch.
How about we start with number 1? How about the beginning? Novel, crazy idea.
Stardust Crusaders,
the first story, I don't know,
is a little tough because it's not just a country. It's not just.
It's multiple continents.
It's not just a couple similar. Like you could find a shooting location somewhere that could fill in for India and the Middle East and stuff.
You start in Japan.
The first part can be filmed in like 2 locations.
You start in Japan and you make your way
Japan,
across
Taiwan,
all of fucking from 8.
Cut some shit out.
Japan, Singapore,
West Asia to East to Egypt, basically. Dude, it's fucking. There's no way. It's impossible.
Why I say Stardust Crusaders is that if they wanted to jump ahead a bit and like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Stardust Crusaders is the one of JoJo where it pops off.
It's the popular one, certainly.
So I think Stardust Crusaders is a good place to start because you don't have that much baggage.
But here's the thing:
from part one and part two.
In part one, all you really need is a
Dio's
big
an
mansion.
asshole.
No, you need a big mansion. You need rolling fields.
That's why I'm saying, like, I don't care.
And you need a London set.
Fuck what the big popular thing is. If you start with number one, you get a simple, short vampire story.
Yeah.
That's very easy to compress.
I would have loved to have seen part one in live
It's
action.
very easy to compress that into 2 hours.
I would have loved to see
You don't
part
need
two.
Tarkus and Bruford. You know what I mean? We don't need.
What are you talking about? Those memorable characters.
Speedwagon can show up. He doesn't need his fucking mean street alley posse. They don't need their moment.
You totally need them.
Oh my god! We just need.
do that part fast.
We need 2 shit kids playing rugby, and then we need Dio jumping out of the fucking stagecoach and like landing with a.
Because it sucks that it starts at part 4 because I would love to have seen live action Dio in any part.
Of course, everyone would, yeah.
Oh well.
But yes, I think it would make a lot of sense because that would probably be the cheapest movie to do. Would be a part 1 movie.
Part 1, yeah.
And
Do you think they did part 4 because they were going off the anime's popularity?
I think so. Plus the cheapness.
So that's the thing is, I made the mistake of thinking that they did it because it was the cheapest to film, thinking they filmed in Japan and they did a bunch of Japanese people being in Japan. So it'd be like, yeah, this is a setting that takes place here. We can do this. I assume that's why they went for it. But I don't know because. Yeah, literally every other part is like another country, another culture. Italian boys, American girls.
It's
cowboys.
It's England. Then what's the
England,
locations?
America, through and then
America/Europe.
For which part?
For part 2.
Part 2, you go to America. You go to
America,
Italy. You go to Switzerland.
A lot of Italy. And
America, Italy, and then Europe. 3, we just covered it.
3 is
starting in Japan, and then all of West Asia to Egypt. 4, Moriocho. 5, Italy. 6, America.
And Florida, like even
7, American West.
Florida.
Out in the fucking
Are you
desert.
Serious? Florida.
Fuck
JoJo's
awful.
and like
the big moment is at Cape Canaveral.
Right, dude. Literally at the Kennedy Space Center is a pivotal location.
Fuck this series.
Okay, let's not forget Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And
8, you're back in Morio.
And then you're back exactly. But 8 fucking globetrots. And there's no way to do that without spending a fuck ton of money.
Or making your sets look really bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
Anyway, I will see what happens.
It's like they can't start at 1 and not do 2. So they're fucked no matter what they do.
No matter what. But
some 3 Canadian people complain no matter what they do.
But like, and if they do 3 before 1 and 2, then it's like... it's gonna be weird because it's like you're doing like you're setting up Dio without Dio, You're setting up Dio without Dio.
The problem with 3 is like, I mean, if you didn't read part 1, Dio has no buildup at all.
Yeah, he's just there.
He's just an ominous.
I think I said that when I read the Stardust manga. I was like, you know what? I realized that if you did not read 1, Dio is meaningless to you.
5 is also isolated enough.
Yes,
but. But like as isolated as the events are, the character is not. And it's so important what the legacy is of this character. But I would have said the same about Josuke, so it is what it is. Anyway.
Like overall, I'd just say the movie like barely justifies its own existence.
Barely,
it didn't really do anything very new or interesting.
But Takashi Miike he's a solid director. He knows what he's doing, and he did the best he could with what he had. And if you know exactly what all the parts are, and you're familiar with it, and you go watch this, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna smile, you're gonna go, "That's fucking awful! Oh my god, I loved it." But it wasn't a terrible ass adaptation. It fits into that same space as Ace Attorney, and you know what? Even Death Note, where you're like, this is doing a ton of dumb shit, but it's allowed to exist.
I haven't seen them, but how far down the rung is the Attack on Titan movies?
Oh man,
because I know you have beefs with dumb thing that happen.
It's not even remotely on the radar.
Okay,
those things are just.
I didn't know it was that low.
We can't even discuss them. They're
there are multiple now.
There's two.
You can't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's like part 1, part 2.
And then there's like stuff like 20th Century Boys and Kenshin, where you're like, yeah, those were
I want to see that Blade of the Immortal movie.
Oh yeah,
with
they
the
just added
tweaks.
those. But
What tweaks do you think were in the Blade of the Immortal movie?
if you had to take a guess,
I don't even know what Blade of the Immortal is.
oh okay, well,
samurai manga.
are you familiar with the character Manji?
No.
Okay, it is the
Oh, this bit has just.
yeah.
I assume
The
you
main
know
character
it.
has a swastika on his backpack.
Okay, so what's the edit?
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
We just put some kanji there.
Because when you start the manga, which I read a couple of volumes, it would be like, note. The swastika was actually like a Buddhist, like calming, nice symbol.
It was a symbol of good fortune.
Well, isn't the entire thing is the
especially when it's
swastika
backwards.
Is, like, mirrored?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's mirrored,
The
yeah.
inverted swastika is the manji is the sign of good fortune.
Well, I don't see what the problem is.
Of
Then that's
course
a totally
not.
different symbol.
That's why it was on a Pokemon card.
Sure.
So in the Blade of the Immortal trailer, also by Takashi Miike, which is weird because we're watching it and we were watching the trailer before Diamond is Unbreakable, and it says the 100th film from Takashi Miike, and I'm like, I guess that means we're watching the 99th one now because this isn't fucking out yet. And then it shows Manji walking around and like the movie looks awesome actually, and then I just see his back and I'm like, I think some tweaks were made.
Some boardroom
He
edits.
just has some random character on his back.
I would have preferred if they just had a big blurred censor block the whole movie.
Yeah, just a huge mosaic.
That would have
like what? It's porn on his back.
I'm keeping it accurate, but you can censor me if you need to. I prefer that. I know, but anyway, in the end, Diamond is Unbreakable, the 99th film of Takashi Miike, which takes place in 1999. Breakdown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the 90s, but I wasn't sure what year.
And
even though they have fucking smartphones in the film.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Japan's.
They
They
had
weren't that advanced.
no, but they had phones that could play before Crisis. So lest we forget.
Yeah,
Japan movies and phones, like they don't care. They are gonna sell that phone.
Yeah.
But 1999 Bizarre Summer, right?
Right.
That's the years, and then therefore, whatever. Anyway, the whole
Good stuff, Woolie.
No. I
That's
was
a good one.
I was just trying to get back to the point that it's fine, and if you're not a JoJo fan,
You will not understand.
there's no reason.
Absolutely start here.
Like, who was it? Someone we went to go see it with was like, "Oh yeah, no, my friends came along and they didn't know JoJo, but and they were kind of confused, but
Yeah, I think it was
whatever."
your friend there.
Yeah, and I was just like, "Why did you not rip their tickets up? Fuck you for allowing your friends to see this as their first exposure to JoJo. You fucked up."
The out of context JoJo Tumblr. Like
course.
where it's just
Yes.
out of
Yeah.
This is the film version of that. It's a 2.5 version.
As out of the entire movie is out of context. You're right. Pat, they never explain what stands are, why you have them.
Oh, I bet.
There's no time for that.
But you do get to see the arrow hitting people, giving them stands, and then hitting people and not giving them stands. So, that's enough of an explanation, I suppose.
I guess.
Where did he get it, though?
But why does Josuke have one?
Where did he get it?
Why does Jotaro have
Where
one?
did he get it is a stupid question even in the manga though. Like it's really stupid.
It is. That's good.
Did Josuke fall on an arrow when he was a child?
Hey, I fell on this arrow and it must have lodged a stand into my gut.
You almost died, but now you're okay. Yeah.